Hello, my name's Dylan, you're watching Go Time. The last month or so I've been on a bit of a journey of discovery to learn as much as I can about suspension and steering geometry in order to build the best drift car possible out of my 4AG Ke70. This week, my number one imperative is extending these lower control arms. Currently, I have some 15mm oversized control arms in there, but I'm going to extend these to about a plus 30mm lower control arm so I can get more camber and more track width. So let's hop straight to it. So this might not look like the most obvious place to cut and extend it, but what this does is means that our sway bar end link location and our tension rod or caster rod location doesn't change either, so we don't put those on weird angles. So it really has to be extended from outboard of those mounting points. Now, I understand that some of you might be sitting there going, wow, Dylan can't weld for shit. Those welds aren't penetrating very well. And you're right. This is the first time I've welded anything over 1 mil, really. So it's not going amazing. One of the main reasons being that I only have 0.6 mil wire. I don't have 0.8, which I should really be using. But though it doesn't look like it's penetrating very well, I've ground back on the first one I did, and it looked like it made the two pieces one quite nicely. I've also welded both sides of this. I put heaps of heat into it. You can see there the heat moving through the part. So that combined with the plate that I'm putting on the bottom, I think it's going to be plenty strong. And look, it's only going to be used on the track, so hopefully I don't die. Hell yeah, so here they are, my two 30mm extended lower control arms. And yeah, not the prettiest job in the world, but it's not rocket science. They don't have to be crazy exact, and I think they'll work just fine. But I'm super excited about this. This is the first time I've done anything this serious. I've never modified suspension like this, and I think it's gonna come out good. So let's have a look at the car now and the way that it sits and my limitations and everything with this current setup, and then we'll start throwing these new LCAs in. So this is what we're working with at the moment in terms of track width and camber. You can hear that left wheel is scrubbing the guard super bad. Even just sitting here, it's not even doing anything. So I'm not sure how many degrees of camber this is, but I reckon it's like 4 or 5 maybe. You can see there. It's a decent amount of camber, it's just really not enough. Yeah, you can see there, clearance to the guard, very minimal, and yeah, it's just not really fitting, and we'd just like to get more camber out of it anyway, so let's give it a whirl. Let's throw this thing in. Now, last episode, I know I spoke a lot about scrub radius and my lack of knowledge on it. And I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who's been helping with these videos and having the discussion with me about suspension and steering tuning. Because of that and because of the last video, I've learnt a lot, and I can sort of share with you now what I know about scrub radius. I'm now aware that there are a few things that make scrub radius desirable in a drift car. One of the things is that when you're drifting your car and you've got extra offset on your wheel, like a wheel spacer or a lower offset wheel, what you give yourself is more track width at angle. So when the wheels are turning, because the trailing wheel comes forward and the leading wheel comes back, they are actually further apart and your track width at angle is wider. So you have a more stable car whilst you're in drift, which is really cool, a really interesting thing to have learned. The other way that scrub radius has an effect on steering in drift is that if we imagine the direction that the spindle is pointing during its turning motion, any offset away from the hub is going to accentuate and exacerbate the effect and the symptoms of the change in direction of that spindle. So say for instance we've got a lot of caster, the strut is leaning very far back and the spindle is pointing this way. When we go into a drift, it's going to start pointing down when it's the lead wheel, like that. So as you rotate the wheel around with steering, it's going to point that spindle towards the ground. This is going to have that caster effect where it pushes into the ground. It has the caster jacking effect where it actually lifts this section of the car up off the ground. Now, any additional offset that you have from that spindle is going to make that effect more noticeable and more exaggerated. So the further away this wheel is from the hub, the more the caster is going to have an effect over the handling characteristics. So a smaller amount of caster will have a greater effect than it would with a higher offset wheel or a more inset wheel. So with a setup like that, to get your self-steer to a place where you want it to be, you'll probably have to run a lot lower caster, which is kind of desirable in a few cases where, you know, I want to get this wheel in the middle of the guard. I don't want it to be punching the front of the guard. If I'm having more caster effect from less caster adjustment, like I'm not having to push the wheel all the way forward in the wheel well, then I'm probably going to find a happy medium of caster and wheel position. But yeah, so really interesting. Thank you to those who've been teaching me this stuff, and I'm glad other people are learning along with me. I'm thinking about doing a full-length video, maybe on a Monday or something, like a bonus, where I just summarize everything that I've learnt from the last couple of videos and the last couple of months of learning about steering setups. So tell me if that's something you might be interested in watching. Yeah, so this is the stance now. I reckon it looks so good. I had a chance to give it a little spin and test how it feels, and it feels freaking awesome. It feels great. I feel like everything that I thought about changing and the reasons for changing those things has really made the difference that I intended. So it's feeling really good. I'm very happy with that. I can see on the camera, but not really in real life, that this side is a little lower than that side. So I might wind this coilover up a touch, which will give me a nice little extra bit of clearance on that side, because that side's definitely rubbing worse than this side, obviously, because it's lower. But Next up on my quest to make this car way sicker is I've got a piece of exhaust tubing. Currently this exhaust has a TRD style header to a resonator into a small rear muffler. That mid resonator is hanging super low though, so it's been completely ground flat and has a hole in it, as well as the car's just not as loud as I'd like it to be. So I'm going to replace that resonator with a straight piece of pipe, and I might have enough left to do a little just straight shooter out the back of the muffler to make it look a little cooler. So hopefully look a little cooler, be a little louder. That's next on the agenda, let's do it. Alright, that's all I have time for this week. I'm late for something, so I gotta go. LCAs are sick, heaps of camber. It drives really good. I'm probably gonna have to raise it a touch though, because it's already hitting. I was hoping I could get another couple mil of spacer in there. Not happening, so some work to do there. Car's kind of louder, but I think it actually just had exhaust leaks before that were making it more raspy, so I don't know, at least I got that ground clearance back. I might end up putting this muffler in, like I said, out the back as a little industrial cannon, but we'll see how we go. It does sound good. I think it is generally a little bit louder, but yeah, it sounds and feels good. That's me, that's go time. Sorry to rush you off. See you later, goodbye. Oh, and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays and that.